One, steroid guy, completely false. That's an insecurity of his because he has a shit physique. And I like Phil. He has a great work ethic and he was a great pro wrestler. But that's just jealousy and insecurity straight up.
So you're saying you're completely clean?
Completely clean. I'm completely against steroid use.
Feed me more!
All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Powers. I thought a fascinating topic for a video would be this interview that was posted yesterday with former WWE wrestler Ryback, also known as Ryan Reeves. So from a physique standpoint, Ryback was really one of the biggest guys in the WWE. Standing 6'3", his build weight was roughly 300 pounds. In his post on Instagram, he actually says he's weighing in the 290s right now at a pretty lean physique, which is why I found this interview posted yesterday to be fascinating. Now, in this interview, Ryback talks about the WWE. He talks about various different things about his life, his supplement company, his physique, his workouts, all that good stuff. But around the 24-minute mark in this interview, Ryback is talking about the CM Punk interview that I'm sure everyone is familiar with on the Colt Cabana podcast, when CM Punk initially left the WWE and then proceeded to bury the WWE on that podcast. One of the people that CM Punk seemed to have a very big problem with was Ryback. And he repeatedly referred to Ryback at various points in that interview as the steroid guy. And the interviewer interviewing Ryback asks him about that famous podcast and what his thoughts were on CM Punk's comments about him. Now, Ryback responds and says, none of that is true, referring to the steroid comment. He says that's just an insecurity that CM Punk has because his physique is so bad. Then Ryback goes on to say in that interview that he's never used steroids, he doesn't use steroids, he's completely clean, and then he doubles down and says he's firmly against the use of steroids. Now, I thought this was a fascinating comment from a guy that weighs nearly 300 pounds and he's lean. Now, granted, he's 6'3" tall, so 300 pounds lean is going to look a lot different on him than it's going to look, on a 5'9" bodybuilder. But I found this interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, I think the obvious reason is going to be if you look at photos of Ryback's physique when he was in the WWE, I think most people would come to a general conclusion that Ryback probably wasn't completely drug-free when he was in the WWE. I mean, I think that's a pretty fair thing to say if you look at his physique. Again, that's just an opinion. But that being said, I think the interesting part about this discussion is kind of the pressure that's probably put on professional wrestlers, even more so than bodybuilders, to be very careful when they talk about steroid use, even if it's on a podcast, even if it's not on TV or as a wrestler or as the character, even if it's a real life interview. I feel like the pressure put on wrestlers to deny steroid use and be very careful when they're talking about it is a lot higher than on bodybuilders, because if you consider the audience that professional wrestlers have, it's a much lower age demographic than if you're talking about professional bodybuilding. And you're also talking about a much more naive audience listening to these wrestling podcasts and following what these wrestlers are saying than if you're looking at pro bodybuilding. I think a lot more people that follow pro bodybuilding are much more aware and much more in the know about what goes into those physiques. But I feel like the 10-year-old or the young teenage kid listening to Ryback say this, it's like, oh, well, if Ryback says he's drug-free, he's got to be drug-free. That physique is definitely something that can be attained without using steroids because Ryback says so. So do I think that Ryback's prime physique while he was in the WWE is something that can be achieved without the use of drugs and something that can be done completely clean and naturally? I absolutely do not think that. Now, looking at some of the recent photos of Ryback, even though he says his weight is in the 290s, I'm looking at some of the recent updates that he's posted kind of post-WWE, where he's clearly not in his prime anymore. Do I think he could be clean now and maybe just on TRT or possibly not even on that? I think he possibly could. Looking at his physique now, it appears he has a completely different physique than he had when he was in the WWE. Now, that wouldn't really line up with the fact that he says he's still, weighing in the mid-290s. But I certainly think it's in the realm of possibility that the physique that Ryback has right now could be a natural physique. But the Ryback that we saw in the WWE, where that was his whole gimmick, that he was the big guy, when your gimmick is that you're the big guy in a stable of professional wrestlers and you have this crazy bodybuilder physique, it just seems like a really ridiculous statement to say that he was natural and against the use of steroids at that time. But I don't know, man. Maybe he was. I just thought it was an interesting topic of discussion. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Ryback, is he natural or is he not? Thank you guys for watching the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed already. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.